everyone, it's Ann-Kathrin. I'm back for the second episode of this season of Casual Side. I'm replacing Anais, who unfortunately couldn't join us today. Or maybe it's just an excuse because I've missed you all. Today, we are welcoming Franck Pansera, who is a partner in Audit, but also leader of PwC Luxembourg's Ability Diversity Network. We also have the pleasure of welcoming Anastasiya Tsybulyak, DEI and Wellbeing Specialist here at PwC Luxembourg. As this month is National Disability Employment Awareness Month, we will discuss disability inclusion in the workplace and how people with disabilities can feel empowered to be themselves and have access to the support and adjustments they need to thrive.
Hello, how are you today?
Thank you, very well.
Yes, very good. Very happy to be here today with you to discuss about this topic. So a big thank you for giving us the opportunity to be there today with you.
Thank you so much for joining us. Maybe let's jump right in. Could you please tell us a little bit more about yourself and your mission here at PwC Luxembourg?
Sure. I'm happy to start by myself. I'm Anastasiya Tsybulyak. Originally from Ukraine, studied in Belgium and then moved to Luxembourg. It has been already 3 years that I am here in Luxembourg and at PwC Luxembourg. And I'm doing diversity, equity, inclusion, and well-being at PwC. Personally, I don't have any disabilities, but I have friends that have one. And I also, as I told you, that I'm from Ukraine, so I have also a lot of people in Ukraine that have disabilities in my surroundings. And I think that this is a topic that is very important, so I'm really glad to be there to discuss about it.
Right. So I'm Franck Pansera. So I'm working for PwC for more than 16 years. So I'm a pure PwC baby. For the time being, so I'm an audit partner, specialized in the audit of banks, regulated entity, and securitization vehicles. On top of my, I would say, day-to-day audit work, I have also some internal roles, I would say, at PwC. And one of them, really important for me, is being the leader of the PwC Luxembourg Ability Diversity Network. Since 1 year now, we started this journey with Anastasiya and some other colleagues 1 year ago, actually. So it's a very important topic for me. I don't have neither personally a disability, but I have some friends and some people from my family having some. And on top of that, it's super and very important for me to ensure that everybody, whoever he or she is, or whatever this person could have or suffer, is properly integrated within the firm to work with dignity and to be able to develop himself or herself within the firm.
And why is National Disability Employment Awareness Month so important?
Yeah. But that's a good question. For me, it's true, it's very important because as it's said on the name, it's really important to raise awareness because since we started this journey with Anastasiya and our colleagues, I really personally realized that internally, so within PwC, but also outside PwC, because we have some contact with some association or other company, we will maybe discuss that a bit later on, that disability, unfortunately, is still a bit a taboo topic, meaning we know in the firm that we have colleagues having some disability, and for whatever their reason, they do not want to talk about it, to declare themselves potentially as disabled, okay? Of course, our goal is not to have plenty of people with the status, I would say, of disabled workers, but it's just to be sure that these people are properly integrated within the firm and that they will receive any kind of support, materials, table, computer, whatever they need or they would need to properly perform their work. Maybe really important to mention, we did not say at the beginning, disability, if I may say that, it's not only being in a wheelchair. Okay, you have plenty of various kind of disability, some visible, some non-visible, some physical, some more linked to the mental health. I would say. So we really have to take all of them into account to, So to answer to your question, it was a bit long, but I would say I really would like to raise awareness internally to make our colleagues, our people aware that this initiative, that this pillar network exists, and that we are here to listen to them and to help them to feel well integrated within the firm.
Yes, and also if you would like to have a little historical background on that. So everything started after the Second World War, because we had a situation where a lot of people had a physical disability and then wanted to have a job. So it started by advocating for disability rights. And then first it started with physical disability, and then other types of disabilities that Franck mentioned were also part of that. So we are continuing what has been started a long time ago.
And if I may add just one last thing, I promised. Based on statistics, 15% of the population will unfortunately face a disability during his or her life. So some people born disabled, whatever disability is, and some will develop some things during the life, for various reasons, various factors. So it's also important. It's also important for these people, to ensure that we are, I would say, ready to act and ready to be supportive and to help them if, unfortunately, someday some things happen to them.
And Anastasiya, from a DEI and well-being perspective, how can companies create a culture where employees with disabilities feel supported and valued?
Very good question. And I will say something very basic as well, because everything starts with awareness. Raising awareness about this topic, it's the most important thing that we can do internally for our people that have disabilities, that are neurodivergent as well. So our goal is really to reduce the gap between people that have disabilities and don't have any disabilities, to create this understanding of what the other person can live and go through. And only by this we can create those connections and inclusive behaviors within the company that will lead to a safer place for people that have disabilities. Franck told you that a lot of people, they don't want to talk about this topic. They don't want to declare themselves. They don't want to be put on the spot like, oh, I'm here, I have disability. And this is also because they don't feel safe enough to talk about these topics. Sure. So the goal is to learn about it and create this safe space so people, they could just share what they need in the company. Again, we are ready to make adjustments in the company to have unequitable working conditions for everyone. And how would you know about those needs if people, they don't share? So the goal is really to create those conversations and understanding and reduce those gaps, so we can be aware of what people with disabilities need, adapt it, and provide the working conditions for them to be at their full potential. So I would say that this is really basic, but we need to start with that, and we need to over time continue working on that and sharing it, because it's also evolving. We know that the percentage of people that have that are neurodivergent will only increase. And still, I know that I don't know if people that are listening us, they know about these topics, but I'm sure that a big percentage of people, they don't know what we're talking about. So this is our responsibility to learn about this topic.
Okay. Franck, how does PwC support disability inclusion through its Ability Diversity Network? And for you as a leader, what is important?
Good question as well. So it's an important topic for PwC Luxembourg, but also for PwC Network. Okay, we have the support of our key management, of our leadership team. They really empower us, I would say, to perform some actions. So, of course, we discuss with them, we validate, obviously. But we are able to perform some actions, to have some partnership with, for example, Handicap International, to IMS as well, to organize some conference, to host some event, to for always the same reason, I would say, to continue to raise awareness on this topic. So we have really the full support of the leadership on this topic to continue our work toward this.
Mm-hmm. And what advice would you give to companies that are just starting to focus on disability inclusion as part of their diversity strategy?
I would say that start assessing what you have and what is the situation in your company. We did here at PwC, we used the tool Handy Diag that has been created also by IMS to assess the maturity on disability inclusion in the company, but also the perception of our employees on the topic. So it gave us a good understanding what are actually our pain points and on what we can work. And of course, this is a tool that you can reuse later on to see after some actions if you have an evolution or not. So this is something that can be also very useful, and I think it's accessible for everyone. So if anyone is interested, you can just go and use this tool. Assessment to see where you stand and where you need to go. That would be the beginning.
And communication, because when you just discuss with people, if you are just a bit open-minded, people will come to you to share and to maybe seek for some advice and so on. Since I'm leading this initiative, some colleagues are coming to me to ask some questions, to better understand what are the various steps to potentially declare themselves as disabled, to know what advantage they could have, or just because they would like to be part of the network and help us for whatever a good reason they could have. And this is possible because, yes, we are, I would say, accessible, reachable, and open-minded. So then it comes naturally, I would say, and people comes to us quite easily.
Looking ahead, what are some future initiatives or goals PwC Luxembourg has for enhancing disability inclusion and also support the employees?
I think we can maybe split the answer between two parts. I think the first part is internally. So what we will do internally at PwC for our staff. So as we mentioned already a lot, we will continue to raise awareness, to organize events, to communicate on this topic. That's also the purpose of the podcast today, even if published on LinkedIn. But I think we need to communicate properly. That's the point, to really communicate with an impact, not to over-communicate, because too much communication will kill the communication and people will be lost. This is why we define a plan with Anastasiya and the team to know when, for us, it's the best moment, the best timing to communicate internally on this topic, to organize some events where we will invite, I would say, everybody. Everybody is able to join, to come, to ask questions, and then they will start knowing our face, and then will maybe come more naturally to us in case of question. Then really externally, we started and we will continue to to make some partnership, I would say, with some other companies or some association I mentioned earlier, Handicap International or IMS. We also met some other corporate entities which are quite well advanced on the topic, so we are able to discuss really, and it's a very good and honest discussion, because we are not here to talk about any business, anything. It's really pure human and HR point. So we are able to clearly and openly discuss about what are the actions and the pain point and the good point we are all facing. So it's a very good and very nice kind of initiative. So this we will continue to invest some time, some energy by meeting other firm, other association to also improve, I would say, our own knowledge on this topic, and how we can continue to improve the life of our employees on this topic.
And it's a very nice point that Franck, you raised about collaboration with other companies, etc. Because I think from my experience, it's the first topic where I don't see any competition while discussing on this topic with many, many companies. We all want the same. We all want to move this. We want to change. We want to make it more inclusive, accessible, and we need to hear best practices from each other. So this is really a great environment in which we can work on these topics and collaborate. in Luxembourg or outside Luxembourg as well. So we also collaborate with companies coming from other countries. And maybe also another things that we plan to do that are also impacting our company, it's everything which is concerns processes. We want them to be inclusive and accessible. So this is our plans to improve this. That concerns recruitment, that concerns any other tools, digital tools that we are using in the company to make sure that everything is accessible for everyone. So we use Microsoft, we use Teams, and this is a nice platform and tools. They have nice features that can help people that have disabilities to, again, work at their full potential. So our goal is to make sure that we have those assistive technologies and that we teach people on how to use them. So this is something that is planned also for us.
Okay, well then thanks to both of you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you for joining us today. That's it for today's episode, and if you don't want to miss out on our upcoming stories, hit subscribe and feel free to share. Let us know what you think. Thank you for listening, and see you for the next episode of Casual Side.